Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, Howard Foster strikes again, 12 years after George Groves versus Carl Froch won. Wow, the stoppage, one of the worst I've seen in many, many years. In fact, probably the worst in a big fight scenario since Carl Froch versus George Groves won, and it's by the same man in Howard Foster. Not only was it a terrible stoppage, it was a stoppage that ruined a really good fight. Howard Foster, jobs for the boys, British Boxing Board of Control. We know the deal. We know the deal. It looked like home cooking to me, It looked like home cooking to me. Again, much like with Carl Froch, the A side gets the benefit of the doubt. The political favourite gets the benefit of the doubt. Here we are again, same referee. It is what it is. And again, it's such a weird one because watching the fight, I was so amped up. I was so excited for what I was seeing. I was really enjoying it. And then that happens. It's like all that excitement is totally sucked out of you. Do you know what I mean? And that's not how I like excitement sucked out of me, I don't want that when I'm watching my boxing. But yeah, man, it's an absolute sham. What else can we say? The stoppage was horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But Joseph Parker stopped by Fabio Wardley in round 11. Once again, Fabio Wardley coming from behind, in my opinion. Haven't seen the scorecards or anything like that. But for me, Parker was more or less outboxing Fabio Wardley. Wardley was dangerous throughout. He was giving Parker problems. Don't get me wrong, he was having success here and there. He was always in the fight, but he was getting outboxed as far as I was concerned. First round, both guys were engaging in a jabbing contest that Parker won. Towards the end of round one, Parker landed a good sort of right hand that backed up Wardley, and he followed through with a combination. A good round one by Parker. Pretty circumspect, but a good round one. Round two, more of the same. Started as a bit of a jabbing match, a bit of a fencing match that Parker was getting the better of. Parker then lands an overhand right that slightly buzzes Wardley. Slightly after that, though, Wardley comes back with an overhand right, which catches Parker, top of the head, buzzed Parker. Wardley jumps on him, lands a series of punches. A lot were blocked or partially blocked, but it looked good. Wardley finished round two really, really well. I gave him round two. Round three was Parker kind of trying to regain composure, but Wardley was trying to press the pace. He was more active with his jab. He was trying to find his right hand. Just a bit more assertive, I would say, in round three. I felt Parker was second best in that round. After the third round, I felt Parker took over, essentially. His jab was more effective than Fabio Wardley's. He was beating Wardley to the jab more often than not. Wardley's low lead hand was getting taken advantage of as well with the jab. And, from range, I felt Parker was getting the better of it. Wardley would land the good odd sort of single shot here and there that would draw oohs and ahs, but the consistent work was coming from Parker. For example, in round 7, I think it was round 7, he caught Wardley with a really good overhand right. And also, after rounds 4 or rounds 5, Parker started to hook off the jab, which was effective against Wardley's kind of shoulder roll type of stance, type of defense. So the left hook after the jab was connecting for Joseph Parker. And while Wardley was competitive in most of these rounds, I felt he was getting more or less outboxed. That was until round 8. Wardley had a much better round. I felt Parker looked out of sorts in round 8. Wardley was better with his jab. He looked quicker. He looked more elusive. He was actually picking some good straight shots from range, mainly the jab. But, he was scoring the points in round 8. So after round 8, I had it 5 rounds to 3 for Joseph Parker. Round 9 was a good round for Joseph Parker. I felt that Wardley was starting to slowly lose his shape a little bit. he shipped a couple of big right hands, a couple of big left hooks in round 9. Also, again, just also in the process of getting outboxed. Round 10 was an interesting round, though. Round 10 was a really, really good round. Parker started the round really strong, was aggressive. He caught Wardley with some really good shots. Overhand right on one occasion, I think a left hook on another. Looked like Wardley was hurt. He was caught with like a treble left hook in round 10, Fabio Wardley. Some big, big shots. After that point, it looked like Wardley was starting to lose his rag. He opens up, as he does when he's hurt, throws shots back at Parker, catches Parker with a big overhand right, wobbles Parker, and the last sort of 30-40 seconds of a round, it's all Wardley. Wardley's pushing the pace, he's trying to finish the job, he's trying to drop Parker. Parker sees himself through round 10, but he's shipped some punishment towards the end of the 10th round. Great end of a round by Fabio Wardley, and it goes to show that, even when he's getting outboxed, or, even when his opponent's landing the harder shots, he's always in the fight. Round 11, though, man, I mean, Wardley, again, came on strong. He built on what he did in round 11. Parker was definitely buzzed. He was definitely still a little bit shaky. And I think Wardley again landed an overhand right, which kind of rocked Parker back to the ropes. Wardley unloaded with a series of punches, uppercuts, hooks around the side, getting very wild at times as well, missing shots. Parker was blocking shots. Some were getting through. He was also cut in round 11, Joseph Parker. And then Howard Foster, after a barrage of shots, just jumps in to stop the fight. He jumps in to stop the fight. It wasn't at that point. And the criminal thing for me was that it looked like even prior to the stoppage, Howard Foster was getting really close, looking for an excuse to stop that fight. That's what it looked like to me. So Howard Foster, once again, rains on our parade as boxing fans, and he ruins the climax of what was a really good heavyweight fight. And there's nothing worse than a ruined climax. I'm trying to make a joke of it, but it's really annoyed me. It has really, really annoyed me. It was a great fight, man. It was a great fight. And, I'm not going to get, in regards to Fabio Wardley, I felt he showed some improvements since his fight with Justice Hooney. What he did very well at was when Parker had some good success, like landed a big power shot, for example, he would tie up. He was moving his head a lot better. He was defending the second phase of attack a lot better against Joseph Parker. I actually felt defensively, after the initial impact, after the initial shot that he was caught with, Wardley was doing a much better job at taking care of himself. And he fought a good fight overall. I still felt it was a good performance from Fabio Wardley, by the way. I'm not going to try and get too down on Wardley, but the result of this fight was criminal. Parker was winning the fight as far as I was concerned. I would give Fabio Wardley round 10. I would give him round 10. So what would that make it? 6-4 to Joseph Parker on my card. I would have it 6-4 going into 11, which Wardley was winning. But it was shaping up to be a great end to that fight. Both guys were hurt in this fight. Wardley was hurt in round 1 slightly. He was hurt slightly in round 2. He was buzzed a little bit in round 7. He was buzzed a little bit in round 10. Parker was hurt in the second round. He was hurt in the 10th round. He was hurt in the 11th round. Both guys were buzzed. Both guys were hurt, but it's Parker who gets stopped. And don't get me wrong, Wardley sustained his attack much better than Parker did when Wardley was slightly buzzed. But it's not the point. To stop that fight is criminal. And quite frankly, if an immediate rematch isn't ordered, then make of it what you will. There has to be an immediate rematch in this fight. That was an absolutely atrocious stoppage. Anybody saying different is wrong. It's just that simple. They're wrong. or lying, one of the two. Criminal. And once again, a black eye on British boxing. A joke, a sham, a scam. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And on pay-per-view, by the way. And on pay-per-view. By the way, the undercard was atrocious. This goes down as the worst pay-per-view event of the year as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, the main event was great until it was ruined. But the undercard? The undercard? Oh my god. Oh my god. The undercard. It's not even worth talking about. Absolute shite. Absolute shite. Howard Foster, rip up his license. Tear it up. Review it. Then tear it up. You know, they did the same for Ian John Lewis after the Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall 1 fight. You know? His license was essentially revoked, more or less, right? So is the same going to happen to Howard Foster, this fat, incompetent oaf? More than likely not. More than likely not. But it should. It should. Disgraceful. A great heavyweight fight absolutely ruined. Absolutely ruined. And, you know, it matches up with a lot that's been going on in boxing politics as well. I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but it seemed like a lot of people in the industry didn't want Joseph Parker to get his shot. Doesn't look like he's going to get it, does it? Absolute sham. Absolute sham. But there we go. There we go. Listen, I still think Wardley was pretty good in this fight, considering the circumstances surrounding how he started boxing, his lack of amateur pedigree, his career in general. I actually felt it was a good performance by Wardley in many aspects, but he was losing this fight, and the stoppage looked, well, it was just extremely soft. Incompetence, corruption, answers on a postcard. Anyway, been you guy Del Boy, peace.